This is an interview conducted with Chief Daniel Tackett of the International Police and Fire Chaplains Association and FSF Freedom. Good morning, Chief Tackett.
Morning. How are you, sir?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for spending time with us today. I'd like to ask you some questions, if I may. Please could you tell me about the International Police and Fire Chaplains Association?
Sure thing. The International Police and Fire Chaplains Association, also known as the IPFCA, was started back in 2000. Back then we were known as the Michigan Police and Fire Chaplains Association. We started out with a handful of chaplains to serve the local police departments. Then in 2002 we launched the IPFCA internationally because we had police chaplains going to Russia, Africa. We trained over 300 individuals in 3 separate countries on the continent of Africa, South Africa, Uganda, different places like that, Kenya, in order to help out the village police and fire and work in the hospitals and help them with the deplorable conditions that they had over there. Here in the United States, we're in about 15 different states. We're in North Carolina, major cities in New York such as Syracuse, Buffalo, Detroit, Michigan. We're in Denver, Colorado. We have a chapter in Florida. We have some in New Mexico, and basically what we do is we serve the men and women of the police and fire departments and first responders, including military and the United States government. We send chaplains out to work with trauma victims, also to work with the different individuals that are involved in high trauma such as shootings, domestic violence, anger management. And the International Police and Fire Chaplains Association has one of the greatest training records in the United States. In fact, the state of Michigan looks at the International Fire Chaplains Association as what we call MCOLS, the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement. The Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement is basically the rules and regulations of what training is for a police officer, and they have helped regulate and accepted our training for police and fire chaplains. Also, we're recognized by several colleges for the training that we do. To be a trained, certified chaplain, the International Police and Fire Chaplains are high standards. It is high as 300 to 400 hours just in the beginning level in their training. We have an entire training staff. We have a command staff of about 10, and we have about 25 instructors who train other chaplains to go out into the field to work professionally. For example, in some of the areas that we do, is also working with children, working with domestic violence, victims of crime, violent crime, war, and even disasters.
I've noticed that you're in association with a company called FSF Freedom. Could you tell me a little bit about that company?
Yes, FSF Freedom was created by a panel of experts to help people that get in trouble with the criminal justice system. FSF has come alongside as a management company to help manage the IPFCA and help coordinate on a professional level with the judicial system. For example, if somebody gets in trouble on a domestic violence charge, road rage, sex offenders, or anger management, this counseling would be in lieu of going to jail. So what FSF has come up with is working with the judicial system with multiple district courts and with the IPFCA, so that when a person gets in trouble, they are actually sentenced to a professional chaplain or counselor from FSF and the IPFCA to have them take all of their counseling sessions at 30 minutes to an hour at a time for up to 20 to 30 weeks to change the person, to help that person to become better in society and to stay out of the judicial system in order to saving the courts money, the prison system money, the jail money. So in lieu of their probation and community service, they're going to receive professional counseling, and with FSF and the IPFCA, these people will have changed lives. In other words, they will get better, getting root of the problem, learning about why it's wrong to strike or to get anger, getting to their heart issue of why they become that way, like with their own problems that they have, whether that they have been abused or there's a problem in their life, and we get to the problem and we try to make them better people.
Well, on that subject, do you mind elaborating a little bit more about the areas that you specialize in?
Sure. The IPFCA and FSF has put together a program to help, for example, domestic violence. Domestic violence, a lot of people don't even know the definition. Domestic violence is anybody that's in immediate relationship, immediate relative, or a spouse or a significant other that would strike or strike out against them physically and emotionally. And what we designed to do is to have a program to be compassionate, to teach them about why this is wrong and get to the heart of the issue. Also in anger management, a lot of people are so stressed in today's society that they're stressed out about their finances, about an illness, about a job, about relationship, either to an addiction as well. And we address all those issues to help alleviate that stress, either through faith-based or through professional counseling, whichever they prefer, in order to help that person. Same thing, most people who become upset or out of control, it's usually what we call stress in the back of their mind. When you have stress in the back of your mind, that's the reason some people go to a refrigerator and open it up and then forget why they're there. Or when they get inside a closed vehicle, it's a different environment and they lash out at total strangers because there's an ongoing problem. And that's what the training and the counseling is all about.
But to be specific, there are obviously many counselors within the United States. What makes you, in your view, so special?
The IPFCA and FSF have professionals. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I have trained literally thousands of chaplains and counselors in the past since 1999. I have dealt with shooting victims, domestic violence. A lot of the counselors that are out there get the head knowledge. The difference is that the IPFCA and FSF, all of us have been doing this for 30 years, 20 years, hands-on, and we know what works and what don't work. And putting this equation and putting this training, and this has been a collective effort that's taken decades, and it's a proven method that turns people around and helps them, other than finding, and then the other key thing is people don't care what you know, they want to know that you care. And that's the other difference with us, because a chaplain cares about the people that we're there for so that we can turn people back. It's the heart that we change, which only God can do, and the person's willing to do that and listen to what we've got to say, they can have a great and productive life.
Do you believe that this also builds a relationship between society and the police?
Definitely. For example, the great city of Detroit, they're talking about all the changes. The changes are great when you have jobs and you have businesses, but what has to change is in the home. That's where everything starts. Children, people, relationships. When you change people, when people can be functional as a couple, functional as a family, they are functional in society and in schools. When people are out of control in the home, which spills over into the job, spills over into society, then it spills over into the judicial system. Something has to take place. Prison, jails don't fix things. Jobs don't fix things. It only meets one need. When you can find out the needs of the people, the emotional, the heart, and the physical problem, and you meet those needs, then those people are productive, and that's exactly what FSF does and the IPFCA does, working hand in hand together.
Well, this of course sounds fantastic, but the nub of the matter is your success rate. Over the years that you have been doing this, could you tell me what that rate is?
We have an extremely high rate. Anybody can make up a percentages, but if I can basically just elaborate a little bit on that. Our success rate has been so strong with certain people. For instance, we had an individual that came out of the prison system who had gone to jail in the city of Chicago, who had committed murder and gang violence. He grew up abused, he grew up being initiated by a gang, went to prison, and through his faith he had found God, but when he had got out he had nowhere to go. He couldn't find a job, he couldn't get places, and he met us, the IPFCA in Upper Michigan, and basically this individual ended up not only becoming a chaplain, but now he talks to gang members. He basically became a chaplain through us, through our training, through our counseling, and through our guidance, and he is now also has a full-time job and also works with the courts. We have another lady that had gone through seeing her husband commit suicide. She had a lot of different anger problems, issues trying to raise 2 children, and through her faith and becoming through our counseling, she had actually said that the IPFCA, she had suffered with this for 20 years, that in a matter of 1 year, being with us had changed her life, and now she has become a chaplain with the IPFCA and currently works in the Macomb County Jail as a full-time chaplain.
And do you have judges or police departments who would be willing to give you references due to the work that you've done in the past?
Sure. One of our bigger chapters in North Carolina, the Wilson Police Chief, Fire Chief, and the Mayor would give us outstanding raving reviews. We have made such a difference there in the last 5 years in the community during their disasters, and also now we are beginning to work with them in the court system. And they said they've never seen anybody like our association as the IPFCA, and we've introduced them now to FSF as our new management company and counselors, and they're excited to do so.
And what about Michigan?
Michigan's the same way. We're known in Saginaw, Wayne County, Monroe. In fact, we have chaplains here, almost 50 to 60 of them, that are highly trained, waiting to start this program and getting things going to make a real difference in their community and in the courts.
And of course, I know that you were associated in helping some of the victims of 9/11. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure can. When 9/11 happened, approximately a year later, New York was still devastated. They had lost a big majority of their firefighters and police officers, and I personally had traveled there and did counseling with them on the anniversary of 9/11 in the city of New York, dealing with their firefighters, police officers, and also continued relationships by Skype or Uvu, and also dealing them with by phone. A lot of these gentlemen completely had been so traumatized, they had a hard time. And that's the other thing that the IPFCA and FSF does, is that not only do we care and compassion and have the education and the experience, but a lot of our chaplains, including myself, are police officers, firefighters, and also ministers, and come from different backgrounds as teachers and educators, and also working with the prison system. And we also have now staff with FSF that are former judges. We have the most prestigious panel of background and career people that can be found nowhere else.
Chief Tackett, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.